So you're going to be a teacher. That's amazing. But building a classroom library from the ground up can feel both super exciting and, let's be honest, a little terrifying. In this explainer, we're going to walk through a really practical, step-by-step guide for choosing the perfect books and creating a space that really sparks a lifelong love of reading.
Okay, let's just dive right in. The world of children's literature is huge. It's wonderful, but wow, it's a lot. For a new teacher, you walk into a bookstore or browse online and you're just staring at the sea of beautiful covers and cool titles. It can feel totally overwhelming and you're left wondering, where do I even start?
So yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? Where do you begin? How do you go from a blank shelf to a curated collection that's going to be meaningful and exciting for every single kid in your future classroom? Well, let's break it down. Okay, our very first step is to understand the building blocks of a great library. It really is all about variety. See, to reach every kind of learner, you need a mix of genres. Different books do different jobs, and they grab the attention of different kids. So let's take a quick tour of the essentials. First up, the classic storybook. I mean, this is the cornerstone in pretty much any classroom library. These fictional stories are what build imagination, introduce kids to unforgettable characters, and, this is so important, they teach the basic structure of a story: a beginning, a middle, and an end. Next, you've got to have nonfiction or informational books. These are absolutely critical. Getting kids into a bunch of these books helps build their background knowledge, their vocabulary, and their comprehension skills. It's how we connect reading directly to the real world around them. And hey, books don't always need words to be powerful. Wordless books are just fantastic. For building visual literacy, they let kids become the storytellers themselves. And then you have these awesome interaction books that literally invite kids into the story, asking them to press a dot or shake the book. It makes reading this really physical, playful experience. Now, these two genres, they are the workhorses of early learning. Concept books are great for directly teaching those foundational ideas like colors, shapes, and numbers. And predictable books, with all their catchy rhymes and repetition, are perfect for building confidence. I mean, when a kid can guess what comes next, that's a huge step toward them reading all on their own. And to round out our little tour, we have the absolute essentials. Alphabet books are a must-have for learning letters, obviously. And then you have more specialized tools like scripted stories. These are often used to teach really specific social skills like how to share or what to do when you're feeling sad, making them an incredibly valuable resource. All right, let's move on to our next step. Now that we know the different types of books out there, how do we pick the very best ones? This is where you shift from just being a book collector to being a true curator. And the art of selection? Well, it's all about quality and inclusion. Before you decide to put any book on your shelf, you should always ask yourself this simple but really powerful question. A read-aloud is one of the most important shared things you'll do in your classroom, so the book you pick has to be a home run. Think of this as your personal checklist. First off, could you read it with genuine excitement? Because if you love it, your students probably will too. But beyond that, you have to think critically. Does it have positive role models? Is the language respectful to everyone? And so importantly, does it promote cultural competence? Does it open up good conversations instead of shutting them down? This brings us to a really crucial idea. A great library has to be both a mirror and a window for your students. It needs mirror books where kids can see their own lives and their own cultures reflected back at them in a positive way. And it also needs window books that give them a peek into the lives of others, building empathy and understanding of all kinds of different experiences, from different family structures to characters that totally break old stereotypes. Okay, so we've got our genres figured out and we know how to select the best books. But where are all these amazing books going to live? Step 3 is all about the environment. The physical space you create for reading is just as important as the books themselves. I want you to think of your book nook not as just storage, but as a destination. It should be a place in the classroom that actually pulls children in, a special spot that says comfort, discovery, and hey, something magical is about to happen here. So what makes a book center great? Well, it's gotta be inviting and comfortable. Think soft pillows or a cozy rug. It needs good lighting. And it absolutely has to be organized so kids can get to the books easily. And here is a pro tip. Display as many books as you can with their covers facing out. That amazing cover art is a kid's first invitation into a story. And that brings us to our final step. You've picked out these incredible books, you've created a beautiful space for them. So now what? Now it's time to use those stories as a launchpad for even deeper learning and development. You know, one of the most powerful things literature can do in an early childhood classroom is support social-emotional development. Stories give kids the language and the framework they need to understand their own complicated feelings and the feelings of others too. So to make this idea a little more concrete, let's look at a fantastic example. This book, No Matter What, is about a little fox who is feeling grim and grumpy and just needs to be reassured that his parent loves him unconditionally. It's a simple story, but it gets at a really deep, common childhood feeling. See, the magic here doesn't just happen by reading the words on the page. It happens when you pause and you ask a question like this one. By asking, have you ever felt grim and grumpy? You are telling them that feeling is okay, and you're connecting the story right to their own life. You're building emotional vocabulary and empathy right there in the moment. And the learning doesn't have to stop when you close the book. You can keep the story going with all kinds of fun activities. Having kids retell it or act it out or even write a new ending for it. All of these things help them really get the story's themes and structure on a deeper level. And really, that's the key takeaway here. The book itself isn't the end of the lesson. It's the spark. It's the beginning of a conversation, of a new piece of art, a dramatic play, and a deeper understanding of themselves and the world. From understanding all the genres to choosing books with real care, creating that perfect cozy space, and bringing the stories to life, you now have the tools to build an amazing classroom library. So the last question is really for you. How are you going to bring that magic to life for your future students?